Hi, I'm DeDe. For this 30-minute session, we'll perform seated exercises which develop strength, stability, and mobility in the core. We'll do some optional standing work and do some stretches toward the end. Here's what you'll need for this: a sturdy armless chair, athletic shoes, some water for hydration that's off to the side out of your way, and you'll also need this optional compliant surface. And what that means is a surface that moves as you move. So that makes balance and stability through our core a little more challenging. So that's optional. If you're in a soft chair, mine's hard, but if you're in a soft chair, you might already have enough compliant surface underneath you, and you don't need to add a compliant surface on top of that. But if you're game to try it and you feel like you can be safe, then you can use a cushion. I'm using a cushion. Mine is made of feathers, so it really compresses down. Make sure yours is not too tall. You can also use a folded towel, something like that. All right, so if you're going to use it, go grab your compliant surface now, put it on the surface of your chair, and let's come into a seated position. Now remember, you need plenty of room around you so you can move your arms and legs freely, and you need to only move at your own pace. And if I'm doing something that feels like the wrong timing for you, change the timing so it feels better. All right, so we're sitting tall. Our feet are straight and even, and so are our legs. You're sitting up tall and straight. Now let's tap the toes, right and left. Leave your heels on the ground. Pick up your toes and tap, tap, tap. Now faster. Tap, 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 tap. Now I'm showing you right now holding on to the seat of the chair. That's always okay. But if you don't need to hold on, then we can actually do some swinging arms here. A little bit like walking in your chair, right? Typically, when we're doing a move with one foot, we'll do the opposite arm. So see if you can make that happen. Now, instead of just swinging, let's bend the elbows, and we're still kind of pumping them forward and back. This is more like a speed walk arm, right? 8 more, 7, 6. Now let's go up on our tiptoes, hold the chair or hands on your legs. Both sets of tiptoes. Keep your toes on the floor. And speaking of the floor, when you're sitting up on your compliant surface, if it means that your feet don't touch the floor, then that means that compliant surface is too tall for you. So you can either eliminate it or get a smaller one. Let's go faster here. Up and up and up. Keep breathing now. Let's place the hands near the knees and then resist. Resist with the hands, and you can feel your core muscles starting to come to life, can't you? All the way around. I sure can, as well as my arms and my shoulder muscles. Now let's do both sets of toes up and both sets of heels up. Toes, heels. Now again, holding onto the chair the whole time if you need to is totally okay. But if you don't need to, then we'll resist, resist, especially when the heels come up. Resist, resist. Now let's try one set of toes and one heel. So it's one set of toes and one heel, and then switch. So can you get it? It's a little bit of brain fitness. One heel and one set of toes. Hi, Prissy. Now can we go a little faster? 1 and 2 and 1 and 2. Can we go even faster than that? Do you have it? 1, 2, 1, 2. Eight more. 7. Make sure you're not holding your breath. 4, 3. Now roll the shoulders up and around, back and down. One more. Hands on your hips. Now we'll shift the weight over to the left, to the front, to the right, and center. Other way, right, forward, left, straight up. Again, over, straight up, and around. Now let's smooth it out. Around, 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 reverse. Now, if you feel comfortable doing it, you can lean back right there a little bit. So feel it in your back muscles, your waist muscles, and your abdomen when you're here. Abdomen and waist and back and the other waist and abdomen. 2 more. One more, shifting the weight across your hips, across your pelvis. Now come to the center. Inhale, hands on your legs. You're sitting up straight. Exhale, hip hinge forward. Do it again. It's like you're bowing, but you're moving from your hip joints, and your back is staying long and straight. Now we'll hold it here. Shoulders away from ears. Try to reach your tailbone away from the crown of your head. All right, let's come up. Again, we'll roll the shoulders up, back and down. 2 more. Now we'll move the feet out to about shoulder width, and then hands on your legs. Now we'll go side to side with the weight shift. Side to side. Over to the left, over to the right. So even in our warm-up, we're still involving our core muscles. You can feel it, right? I can feel it. I hope you can. Now let's go front to back. We still have our hands on our legs. Abdomen and back. That's where you should be feeling a little bit of challenge, a little bit of switching on of the muscles. Now side to side again. Can we take away one hand? See how that feels. Now if you did the taking away of the hand, switch. Make sure your feet are feeling some of your shifting body weight. Now forward and back. Forward, can we take away one hand? And back. It's always optional to do anything more than just the base move. It's always optional. Can we try the other arm? You might want to inhale here. You might want to exhale here. Now back to sitting upright. Keep your feet shoulder width distance. Inhale, exhale over. So if you're not used to working with a squishy surface under your hips, this is going to feel slightly more precarious. I don't even know that precarious is a good word. Slightly more challenging for your balance. How about that? It sounds more friendly. Inhale, exhale over. So some of the ways we can challenge our balance and our core stability and strength while we're sitting, besides this compliant surface, is different stances with our feet. So a little bit wider is usually a little more stable. A little bit more narrow means you have to provide more stability with your muscles. Now let's twist. Inhale, look over your right shoulder, exhale, and we'll switch. Look over your left shoulder. So right now we have a compliant surface, but we have our feet shoulder width distance. So we have a little more challenge and a little less challenge because of our stance. Keep your legs anchored and stationary. Don't let them wiggle. Don't let them wobble. Two more twists. One more. All right, now we step out, in, out, pause, and then we go in, out, in, and pause, and switch to your other leg. Do it with me. Out, in, out, pause, in, out, in, shoulder width. Let's switch. Let's go a little faster. Out, in, out, in, switch. So we're starting and we're finishing each of those moves with a shoulder width stance, right? Now I'm showing this with holding on to the chair as the arm option. You don't have to do that. You can hold your legs. That's another way that we can stabilize when we're sitting, is we can hold on to the chair. So if you're not holding on to the chair, that's a little more challenging for stability and balance. All right, up and down on your tiptoes now. Resist and down, exhale. Make sure your back stays straight when you do this and your shoulders are down away from your ears. Now let's go back to that foot pattern. Out, in, out, pause, in, pause. Now pressing, resisting, heels up. Now we go out with the left leg. Out, pause, in, resist. Right side. Out, in, resist 4 quick ones. Other side. Resist. All right, now stop. Step even wider. Inhale, hands here, exhale, forward. Make sure your feet are not too close to the chair or your legs won't be able to stabilize you. So we want to challenge our stability, but we want to stay safe. Now we add a twist. So inhale, keep your body straight. Exhale, twist. So you can turn your chest, but you can also turn your face, your eyes. But you don't have to do that, because that's another way we challenge our balance, by turning our head and changing our focal point. So your option is to keep your head in the center and keep your eyes in the center. That's a little bit easier. Otherwise, you turn everything. One more. Now we come up. Now be careful if you're on a compliant surface, make sure it stays in place. We're turning to the right. Make sure that your compliant surface lines up with the edge of the front of your chair seat. And then we have our 90 degrees with both of our knees, and we're holding on as much as we need to. Let's rock the pelvis. Forward, back, rock, and rock. Tuck your tailbone under a little bit. 4 more. All right, let's turn, and we're going to take an extra long time to turn. Because as I said just a moment ago, we need to keep this compliant surface in place. Keep it neat and tidy, don't get sloppy. All right, 90 degrees, holding on as much as you need to. Rock your pelvis, tuck your tailbone under. Four more. One more. All right, of course, that was a stretch for our hip flexors. Hopefully you felt it there. Now let's come back into a narrow stance, back where we started. Holding onto the chair, right heel goes forward and back, left heel too. Now starting with the right, we go forward, forward, back, back. So it's forward, forward, back, now the left. Forward, forward, back, now lead with your right. So anytime we have the feet further away from us, that requires a little bit more stability through your core, a little bit more balance. We're holding on right now, but can you try it without holding on? See how it feels. Maybe you're holding on with one hand. Can we go a little faster? Let's try holding on. Right foot first. Out, out, in, now left. So the foot that stepped back last is the foot that goes first. You might have figured that out already. So what do you think? Holding on with only one hand or no hands? Now, if you're okay without holding on, how about if we add some arms? Same as the legs. They go out and in. So the hand that comes in last is the hand that goes first as well. Now keep your hands on your legs or hold on. We're going to go out diagonal and switch. Can we add the arms back in? Diagonal. You still sitting up tall? If you can't still sit up tall, holding on might be better. Whatever it takes to get you to sit up tall here with your arms, I want you to do that, whether it's holding on or not. Four more now. Now stay in the center, resist here. Keeping your shoulders down away from your ears. All right, let's stop. Fold your arms, tip forward. Stay here. So that was a lot of stabilization. Did you feel it? Did you get fatigued through your mid-body? Remember, our core muscles are everything except for our head, our arms, and our legs. So anything in your back, your waist, your chest, abdomen, those are all core muscles. All right, take your hands on your legs now and press yourself up. Now you can stay seated and go to a wide stance for this, or you can join me in a standing position. So if you're going to stand up, take your time. Remember, the option is to stay seated, so feel free to do that. So we're coming over to the side of the chair now. Go with me to the left side so all of my cues make sense to you. Now we're taking the hand that's closest to one another, inhaling, you're holding onto the chair here, and then exhaling, softening your knees, bringing your hand to the chair seat. Inhale, stand up. Exhale, hip hinge forward. All right, stay in the hip hinge. Make sure you bend your knees more if that's what it takes to get your back neutral and straight. So neutral is what I'm showing here. So if you need to stop for a moment, stand up and take a look. Make sure that you do that. So here's what we don't want. We don't want this, especially with locked out knees. So bend your knees, straighten out your spine, and then support with your hand on the seat of the chair. If you need a yoga block on the seat of the chair, then you can remove your compliant surface. If it's in the way, you can put your yoga block there. All right, and then we come up, take your time, keep holding on to the chair as needed. Let's walk to the other side, and we'll do the same hip hinging, and then we'll hold. So soften your knees, inhale, the hand that's closest to me, exhale, touch that one down, and again. So of course, whenever we change the angle of our torso relative to gravity, that requires a little bit more stability through our core and a little more balance. Now this time we come down and we hold. Stay here, find neutral, bend your knees more if that's what it takes. Can you include your neck and your head in that neutral straight line? Try to do that. All right, and then we come up slowly, nice and easy. Let's go behind the chair now, and we're going up and down on our tiptoes. Here we go. Up and down, up and down. Make sure the back of your chair is reachable. So if you're going up on your toes and you're no longer holding on and that feels a little less stable than you'd like, then go over to a wall or a countertop, or a taller chair, whatever it takes. Just make sure it's sturdy. Now, can we go up on our tiptoes and hold there? Hold there. Keep breathing. All right, come on down. Let's walk back to the original side of the chair. Now watch before you go. This is what it looks like. Back where we were, but then we'll turn our chest. So I want to see that your back is turned to me. Okay, so soften your knees, hinge forward from your hips, hand on the compliant surface or the chair or the yoga block. Inhale, stay neutral. Exhale, turn your chest away from me. And then we'll do it again. And two more. Turn your chest. It might not turn very far, but do your best. One more. All right, and then we're coming back to center. Now you're holding on with one hand on the back of the chair. And if it feels okay, reach the hand that's closest to me straight out, like an airplane wing. Keep bending your knees. All right, and then take your hand down. Now let's hinge up slowly. And then we'll slowly walk around to the other side. So if you tend to get lightheaded, if you stand up too quickly, then you stand up even more slowly. All right, here we go. Bend your knees, hip hinge, inhale, hand on the chair seat, hand on the back, exhale, turn your chest away from me. Again. Only two more. Turn your chest, keep your hips still, keep your legs still. Now coming back to center, and only if you feel confident doing this and you feel safe and comfortable, then you'll reach your arm that's closest to me, straight out toward me, like an airplane wing. Brace through your core, make your abdomen nice and firm. Keep your knees bent. And then your hand is on the chair and you're slowly coming up. All right, let's come back and sit down. So if you were seated the whole time, you could still do all of those things from a wide stance. You could turn, you could do the airplane wing arm. All of that could have been done sitting down. So if you stayed seated, I hope that you continued to participate. All right, so we're moving away from the back of the chair and we're walking our ankles and knees together. Sit up straight and tall. Inhale. Exhale, look over your shoulder, and we'll stay here. So you probably will be able to get more rotation than you did when we were standing. If you stayed seated, you probably got a bit more rotation than those of us who were standing. All right, come to the center now. Inhale. Let's go the other way on the exhale. Stay here. So just because we're holding still doesn't mean we're not still breathing. We are. And then we're coming back to the center. Now, cross your right ankle over your left ankle, or your right ankle over your left knee for this figure 4 stretch. Sitting up tall. And if you feel quite a bit of stretch in your right hip from sitting up tall, then you don't have to tip forward. But if you can tip forward and you can still tolerate the amount of stretch that you're feeling, then you can do that. So tolerating it, and it feels appropriate. So if it feels like too much stretch, then it probably is. So don't go too far. And then we're coming up. And we're switching. Ankle over ankle, or ankle over knee. It's so important to keep our connective tissue supple and flexible. Balance and flexibility are two really important things that we need to work on a very regular basis. And that's why we have these sessions. All right, and then we're sitting up. Now, stepping your feet out wide, turning carefully and slowly back to this lunge position. So your knees are 90 degrees, but now we'll change it. We'll slide or wiggle the back foot back until the back leg is straighter. Drop your hip that's closest to me down a little bit more toward the floor. And then take your arm that's closest to me and reach it toward the back of the chair. So we're getting a little side bend as well as a big hip stretch. And then let's release that. Now we have to bend the back knee before we start to change directions. Keep your compliant surface in place. Starting with 90 degrees with our knees and then sliding or wiggling the back foot back. Your hip closest to me drops down, and then your arm closest to me reaches over into a side bend. Wow, that's so powerful. Down the side of the body, through the front of the body. And then slowly come up. Bend your back knee, come around to face forward. All right, we'll do what I like to call the doorway stretch. So make a goalpost shape with your arms, shoulders down away from the ears. And then like you're walking through a doorway, but your arms get stuck on the other side of the doorway. Feel that big chest and shoulder stretch there. Try to relax your neck as much as you can. Let's release that. Let your arms come down. Roll your shoulders up and back and down. And one more. All right, so how was that? Did you feel your core working when I brought your attention to it? Could you feel it? Could you feel it even when I didn't bring your attention to it? I hope so. We want to have that greater awareness of what our body's doing in the moment that it's doing it. Do you also feel a little bit more limber and a little more flexible now? I hope so. Thank you for joining me this time, and until next time, be well.